Good, good, good. Welcome.
Oh, my friend.
Hi. All right.
Okay, so we're focusing today just on the dome, so do not look that way, please. We're going to go this way, and this is actually we're taking you to the end of the attraction, so now we're getting to the movie part, which is actually the end, but that's what we're showing off today.
Did the dome replace the old pre-show video?
Yeah, but this is, you'll see inside, this is
Much bigger.
This is like the pinnacle of the attraction now.
Okay.
As far as you go through, you see, and Brian will walk you through this, but you'll go see some of the animals underwater first, then you come into the movie, and then you come out above water and see the above water. So.
Wow.
So this is the dome. We're going to kind of walk you around over here, and we're going to face this way, and then Brian will address you guys when he's ready. To kind of just give you an overview and welcome you to our finished dome. And then afterwards, you'll be able to, whoever wants to, can interview him, one-on-one.
Hi everybody, look what we've been building. We've been secretly building this inside this building. So this actually represents the day that the dome is complete, substantially complete, related to the structure and the screen and the facility. Projectors are actually in as well. They're actually hiding, there's 36 of them in this room, hiding behind the dome and underneath the platform we're standing on. So all that work is done. The next thing that happens as soon as this day is over is we carpet this room and we start installing the film, the sound, and the effects inside the theater itself. So, and that will take us about 5.5 weeks to get done. The film is so large that it will take upwards of 2 weeks to download through a secure data line that we've installed to the theater to SeaWorld from various sources that are sending us the film. We have crews working all over the United States working on the film. Teams, if you will. We have a team dedicated only to sand creation. When we last talked at the announcement of the attraction, I used the word hyperreal to describe the quality of the film content, and all of our tests have proven that is the lowest way to describe the film. It is much more intense than we expected it to be as far as visual content and kind of visual stimulation, if you will, for the guests. So this is what you did. You actually came in backwards into the theater. What you missed was all the pre-show rooms. We're not going to show you those today, and you missed the animal habitats. We're going to show you those later. Today was really focused on the dome, so you're kind of seeing it out of sequence from a guest point of view. But you guys are the first people to actually walk in here that aren't part of the construction team or the SeaWorld Park itself. So congratulations on being the first, I suppose. Anything else?
Tell us something about the dome.
Okay, so some of the technical attributes of where we're in. SeaWorld's all about repurposing, recycling, and reusing. We bring that all the way through to our construction techniques. So this building was already here, believe it or not. Most people don't believe it was here. We're actually standing about 14 feet below ground through the ramp that you came down. And so we're actually in a basement, a very large building that existed here at the Manatee Valley, built back in the 80s. We didn't want to tear that down, we wanted to repurpose it. So we found this technology, this dome idea, and say, hey, would it fit this building? And it fits perfectly in this building, and the proportions feel very good with what we're in. So what we did is we stripped the building clean, we cleaned it out, and we built first the frame, which you can see above us through the lighting, and then we installed the panels themselves. There's 344 individually hand-cut panels. It takes the team about 2.5 hours per panel to install. Each one is hand-done. It provides what we call a nano scene between each panel, which right now you can see when it's illuminated from the back. But when we project the movie, film content on the front becomes invisible. There are 22 different speakers hidden around the screen. You might be able to see a few through the light here, but those speakers are arranged in a configuration that actually hasn't been done before because of the dome shape. It makes our composer, who is Jody Jenkins out of London, very excited because he's able to move the sound in the space in 3 dimensions. So when our turtle swims from this direction over the guest heads, this direction, we can actually move the sound not around the dome, but through the dome. So it will follow him exactly. So it's going to be a really incredible experience for the guests to have that immersion into the underwater world with the sound and video content. I think that's all we have technically. There's 36 projectors, and they're hidden underneath this floor in a giant well with mirrors underneath here, which is covered up, and there's a couple behind the walls of the dome itself. But the majority of the projectors are located underneath this platform, which is where the guests will stand when they enter the theater itself. And for those that, if you remember from our press announcement, I mentioned that this attraction was really, it's about animals, manatees, the ability for guests to make a change in the manatee's future. We're going to introduce sea turtles to our guests for the first time here underwater, and we're going to talk about how guests can make a change in those animals, challenges they face in the marine world, and they're going to learn about those in this theater, in the dome experience. And then when they leave, they'll actually get a chance to make a difference and become what we call an everyday hero. So this is a word we're going to hear from here on out. You're going to hear it in this film. You're going to hear it in the pre-shows. You're going to hear it in the post-show experiences. And it's the words that we're describing the way that we empower our guests to take simple actions at home, at this theme park, today, right here and there, at the post-show experience, and to spread the word to their families and friends when they return back home from their vacation. And this word, everyday hero, is a very simple word for kids to understand and for our guests to understand that they can become a hero of the environment and of the ocean through simple actions. And we're going to teach them how to do that and make them all heroes. And by the time all the guests leave this theater, they would have actually transformed themselves into those everyday heroes through the content and the sort of the 3D effects within the film itself. We're going to turn them into heroes. So it's going to be a great experience, a lot of deep meaning, really fits with what we're about, with empowering the guests to make a change in themselves and in our natural environment to make a difference and make it a better place for us to live and for all animals to live as well. So it's a great experience all around.
Now, if anyone wants to ask any questions specifically, or we can go to the one-on-ones, you let us know what is best for you.
Dwayne has questions.
So are we standing in this? I mean, we are standing. In the future, guests will be standing?
Right where you are. Yeah, the guests actually will enter through this door. The show control system will allow them in. When you enter the space, it won't look like a theater. We have some tricks up our sleeves to kind of change the appearance of the space when you walk in, and then transform the guests when they become the viewpoint of the turtle. The entire experience is as a turtle would see his world, her world actually. I'm wearing her around my neck right now as we speak, but we see her as she moves around in her growing up from an egg, hatching on the beach, through the trials of being in the ocean, and back to the beach to lay her eggs is the story. So it's a 25-year moment of the turtle's life told in 6.5 minutes. It's theme park time, very fast. And and this is the actual space that the guests will be standing. 195 guests can enter the space. The center platform here is actually missing. There's a platform here which we have some of our live actors and education staff on that tell a little bit of the storytelling before the theater experience begins. But this is the space I'll actually be standing.
And is it tied in? You had Turtle the Incredible Journey, so will people who experienced that lovely movie, will they kind of recognize a little bit of that in this experience?
It does visually, it's telling the same story in a very shorter time span. Growing up on the beach, I mean, you know what happens when turtles hatch. One of the worst conditions of their life is racing from their nest to the ocean, and some of the challenges are man-made, but a lot of them are nature-made influencers like crabs crabs and birds on the beach grabbing those turtles as they make their way. Guests will actually get to experience what it feels like to be attacked by a giant ghost crab, which in this space will be about 27 feet tall when it comes into 3D and actually grabs the audience, if you will. They'll also take flight with birds that grab the turtle, and we take flight up in the air about 120 feet above the ocean. So they'll have all those same experiences that you saw in that film, but this is told through digital content, not real documentary content. So everything that's created, all the environments are created digitally, and that allows us to make them very real, makes them 3D, and also makes them very engaging and kind of very visually stimulating for the guests, particularly children, because it'll be very vivid and very exciting for them to watch. Don't be shy.
We're not side people.
And how will the manatees fit in? Can you speak to that yet, of how they fit into
Yes, I
all
can.
of this?
So the manatee, the turtles take this journey alone, and that's part of the amazing story of the turtle. Their first 25 years are basically spent alone. They hatch, they race to the beach, and they swim these great distances all alone and come back and nest at the same beach they were born on. But along the way, they do meet other animals. They meet other turtles, of course, but they also meet other animals. Manatee is the first animal, our turtle, that she meets when she hits the water is a manatee. And one of the first places these turtles go as hatchlings are the seagrass beds, just off the water in the shallows. And there we're going to introduce and meet our manatee friend, if you will. So that's how they're tied into the movie context. How we're discussing them in the pre-shows is that manatees are the first animals you encounter in the underwater pre-show area. And in that space, we learned that guests, our human guests, have made a change in their behavior over the past 22 years to make a difference in the plight of the manatee. Before SeaWorld was exhibiting manatees, not many people knew what they were. We brought those animals to the forefront. They were highly endangered, becoming more endangered, and we brought them forward and taught our guests and let them learn about those animals, and they started to care about them. You really can't care for something that you can't see or make a connection with, so SeaWorld is about allowing guests to make that connection. So they made the connection with the manatees here over the past 22 years internationally, and manatees live in other places than just America, North America, and that's made a difference in those manatees and in their future. So it's been a positive change. So it's sort of a thesis statement that humans have the ability to make a change, and then we get introduced to the sea turtles, and we learn about what challenges they face. So now we're going to bring sea turtles to the forefront and say, here's what these animals and the challenges they face, and here's how you can make a difference through your daily actions to help those animals in the wild.
And then Brian, along the same lines, so you say you first encounter the manatees, then you walk through, and then you're in the turtle space. Can you then take us through kind of the whole journey of this attraction?
Yeah, I'll give you the whole journey. So this is the journey in 4 minutes. When guests approach the attraction, they're going to see a large sculptural wave that has sea turtles and manatees swimming alongside each other. And also in there is a giant school of orange tang, they're called tangs, fish. And these orange fish represent a very important color to us. Orange represents the color of everyday heroes for SeaWorld. So this orange color is actually introduced in the entry experience of the attraction. As they make their way down the queue, they're going to learn how SeaWorld heroes, because we do a lot of work and we don't mind doing that heavy lifting, how today we're going and rescuing a dolphin this morning. Some of our film crew isn't here because we're doing that. But we do a lot of the heavy lifting. So the guests will learn about some of that work that we do, rescuing and returning animals. Today we've rescued and returned over 2,000 sea turtles back to the wild. That's an amazing number considering that only 1 out of 100 turtles survive birth, so to adulthood. So we make a big difference that way. So we'll learn about how SeaWorld are heroes. When we enter the underwater viewing, first pre-show room, if you will, there we learn about the manatees. We see them through full floor-to-ceiling acrylic, kind of face-to-face with those animals, and we learn about their plight and how our guests have made a difference. So maybe it's possible for us to become heroes too, right? Why not? The doors will open and we'll move into the turtle underwater pre-show room. And here we learn about each turtle has an individual story as to how they came to be in our care. Our turtles were not taken from the wild. They are rescue animals or animals that can no longer be returned. So they have various degrees of injuries and challenges facing them that don't allow them to be released back in the wild. So we'll learn about 1 or 2 of those interesting stories of how they came to be in our care, and we'll learn about stories about how we've released those turtles back, some back into the wild, not the ones on exhibit, in the habitat. And then we'll learn that it's really an amazing journey that the turtles take, also over 25 years, hundreds of thousands of miles, to return back to their beach to lay eggs for the first time. And wouldn't it be great to go on that journey as a guest? And the doors will open and they'll enter into this space and they'll take that journey. So it'll be the first time that our guests, any guest on the planet, will be able to go on a journey, this kind of secret journey these turtles take from a turtle point of view. So everything in the theater is from turtle point of view. So when we're very small, at the beginning of the film, everything is large. The sand granules on the beach are probably the size of baseballs from a turtle point of view. So that first scene is all from a turtle point of view. What does the sand look like from a baby turtle? Well, we had to figure that out, and we did it. And then as the journey continues, we encounter many different animals, sharks, predators. We encounter dolphins, heroes along our journey, manatees, and jellyfish, and a handful of other critters. Mantas make an appearance, of course. And we take our journey, and as we grow, our perspective of the world changes as a turtle, as well as we become more of an adult. We meet our hero buddy, turtle, who becomes our mate, if you will, and then we actually go through the trials of a turtle actually being caught by a fishing net, but being saved by a device called TED, a turtle excluding device. So we will actually go inside of a fishing net from the point of view of a turtle, and then be actually protected and saved from what would have killed the turtle by a TED, which is an effort that SeaWorld supports out in real life. This is actually how they do fishing now with the TEDs, which help save sea turtles. So this is an active organization that we fund and are part of to help fishermen get TEDs for their nets to help save turtles in the wild. So we actually get to go in that device and see what that feels like from a turtle point of view. Basically, this whole place becomes a net full of fish. It's really incredible. And then we return to the beach to lay our eggs. And here's where we transform from point of view of the turtle to more of a point of view of a guest, of a third party. And the message starts to become clear that it's not what SeaWorld can do only by ourselves. It's what we can all do as individuals to help these turtles and other marine creatures. And that's where the film ends, when you learn about people around the globe working together to become everyday heroes. And that orange color will become more important during the film. I won't give all that away quite yet. That's how it works. Rats. Soon. You gotta keep something coming. And then when they exit out, the post-show is about people around the world, globally doing simple good things in their neighborhoods to make a difference. And then the guests will have a chance to become a hero instead of our retail experience itself. Well, it'll be a whole webisode based on what that retail experience is coming up.
And Brian, when everyone leaves here, then you go up and then you get the above water view.
Yeah, the post-show is all the above water view. We'll also have our originally created game. It's called Race for the Beach. It's basically a active play game for kids, and unfortunately the adults like to play it more than the kids as well. We developed it for SeaWorld California. It was a huge success for us. It's a learning game, but it's a race game. It's a competitive racing game where kids get to take the role of one of 4 species of sea turtle, and they journey from the depths back to the beach to lay their eggs, and they have to make choices along the way of what to eat, what not to eat, and what to avoid along the way, dangers, and they gain and lose points that way. But it's a great learning tool for the kids. Gameplay is a great way for kids to learn, and it's a fantastic little game. So we'll have that upstairs as well. A bunch of game stations they get to play at the above water viewing area. And above water viewing, you'll see sea turtles and manatees, both of them.
How long is the actual movie in here?
It's ranging between 6:45 and 7 minutes. We're kind of in editing right now. We're deciding we can't seem to get rid of any parts because they're all so good. So we want to get a little shorter, but everything is so good that it's running about 7 minutes. Yeah.
And no matter where someone stands in here, they'll get an excellent view.
A perfect question. So the unique attribute of this theater, there is no front. Our guests will make an automatic assumption that front is opposite of the way that I walked in. So the film actually will start here. The focus will be here. But within the first 35 seconds, we will have changed their point of view from that direction to this direction. And they will actually rotate and move during the theater experience. So it's a very active viewing experience. And if there's action, the forward direction is this way. If I stand, I can actually watch the entire experience backwards and watch another whole story happening behind the turtle. So when I see a manta ray swim, and by swim, he will swim in this theater 23 feet, full-scale manta, will swim through the theater space and then depart over the guests' heads. Well, a turtle will head this way, so you can choose to watch where the turtle is going, or you can turn and choose to watch what the manta ray goes and does. And so every animal, when they come into view and then out of view of the main point of view of the guests, continues their journey, their individual journey, so they get very busy in the background, which is a great story. It's an interesting experience to edit this film and to evaluate the film, because it's really 6 films simultaneously. We have a film up top, and then we have 5 around the perimeter. So we're watching 6 stories happening simultaneously that are all blended together that makes the total world that you're actually in.
So high repeatability, don't just come see it once?
Yeah, there's 6 theaters in here, all blended together, so there's 6 stories really being told that you could watch different point of views. Absolutely. There's a lot of content. It's very difficult to actually watch from from flat screens. It's very difficult to imagine this dome space on a flat screen. So we mocked this up almost full scale in a warehouse over by the nearby, and it was just incredible to watch the content in different forms, the forward content, the backwards content.